Welcome to the Just Nuke It podcast. Ready for another apocalyptic probe?
Always.
Excellent. So this week, we're ditching those, the typical end-of-the-world tropes.
Yeah.
No zombies, no plagues. We're diving into some seriously wild scenarios. Think legendary warriors, otherworldly horrors, the whole shebang. And from the looks of it, we've got two absolutely earth-shattering stories on our plate today. Two. Wow.
Okay.
You bet.
Buckle up.
All right, so first up, we're time traveling back to feudal Japan. Samurai, ninja, locked in this ages-old blood feud, right?
Classic.
But from what you shared, it looks like they've got a new problem, a much, much bigger problem. A dark force is tearing its way into their reality, twisting, warping, turning everything familiar into something monstrous. And we have a flash fiction story that captures all of that. It's called No Honor Amongst Ghosts. And get this, the story follows Masahiro, he's a samurai, and he's forced to fight alongside Sayuri, a ninja, who also happens to be his father's killer. Talk about a tense team up.
Oh, yeah. It's that clash of principles that makes this so interesting, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
You got the samurai, bound by honor, duty above all else.
Right.
And then you have the ninja, practicality, survival at any cost. And now they're being forced to work together against something that turns their whole world upside down.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're going to jump from feudal Japan to, ancient Greece. We're talking about Alexander the Great, the conqueror, the legend.
Oh, this should be good.
Right. But here's the twist. Alexander isn't facing some rival king or a rebellious province. No. Your material describes this portal opening up right in the middle of his conquests. And out of it pours an army of, aliens? I mean, what? Our second flash fiction story is titled Beyond the Gates of Babylon. It follows Alexander as he fights to close this portal, trying to save not just his empire, but, the whole world from invasion.
So we've got two very different warriors, wouldn't you
Yeah.
say? We have Masahiro, right, caught up in this very structured world of feudal Japan. And then Alexander, a man who, he reshaped the ancient world through conquest. But now they're both facing these threats that completely dwarf anything they've ever known.
Yeah.
I mean, it really makes those old conflicts seem pretty insignificant, doesn't it?
Doesn't it, though? So that's our apocalyptic probe today.
Yeah.
How do these warriors from different times with different beliefs, how do they handle this ultimate threat? What makes them tick? What kind of crazy alliances are they forced to make? What sacrifices? You brought these flash fiction stories to us, and I think you're onto something here. You're looking at how humanity, in all its forms, deals with the unthinkable. So let's dig in. Let's start with feudal Japan, and this story, No Honor Amongst Ghosts. Okay, right off the bat, we're thrown into this double conflict, the war between the samurai and ninja, and then, boom, this terrifying darkness from another dimension.
And it's that double conflict that really sets the stage, right?
Yeah.
You immediately understand how deep the hatred runs between these groups. Masahiro's right in the middle of it. And then suddenly, this new threat appears, and it makes all those old grudges seem, almost pointless.
Almost pointless. Their entire world is warping, changing, and these sworn enemies have to face this terrifying enemy together.
Exactly.
And then the story throws that curveball. Masahiro has to fight with Sayuri, the woman who killed his father. The tension in that, it must be unbearable. The flash fiction story really leans into that sense of desperation. Sayuri has this line, she says, "Honor is for the living." It's like she's cutting right through Masahiro's samurai code,
It's a good point, though. Think about it. What happens when everything you believe in is challenged by, a threat to your very existence?
Yeah, that's deep.
Masahiro's probably lived his entire life by this code of honor, and now he has to decide, can he even survive if he sticks to it?
Right.
Sayuri, on the other hand, she's always operated outside those rules. Maybe she's actually better equipped to deal with this new, horrifying reality.
It's like their differences, they almost become strengths, right?
Right.
Masahiro with his disciplined swordsmanship, Sayuri and her stealth, her poisons. The flash fiction story talks about them fighting not with trust, but with this brutal pragmatism. What do you think that says about survival when, everything's on the line?
Well, it tells me that when you're facing total annihilation, survival trumps everything else. You don't have the luxury of picking your allies based on old grudges or beliefs. You cooperate with anyone who can help you make it through the next day, even if it goes against everything you thought you stood for.
It's like it strips away all those layers of society, all the rules, and you're left with this raw instinct to just survive.
Exactly.
And then it gets even darker. even more interesting with the appearance of this cloaked figure, right? This entity, it's like the source of this dimensional darkness. And it talks about how their petty wars are actually feeding it, giving it power. It's like humanity's own conflicts created this opening for this interdimensional horror. That's messed up.
It is unsettling. And, it makes you think about our own world.
It does.
All our divisions, our conflicts, could they somehow make us vulnerable to threats we can't even imagine, whether they come from outside or even from within? It's like this story is using this supernatural villain to warn us about, the self-destructive nature of conflict, something to think about.
Absolutely. And the ending, the way Masahiro and Sayuri charge into battle together, despite everything that's happened between them, it's such a powerful image. And Masahiro, he even wonders if his father felt some kind of twisted camaraderie with Sayuri in his final moments before she killed him. The complexity of their alliance, it's just fascinating.
It's not about forgiveness, is it?
No.
Not in that moment. It's about a shared understanding of the danger they're both in. They're united by a common enemy, by the need to survive, even if that unity is, temporary and born out of pure necessity.
Yeah. The story leaves you with that image, that stark image of two former enemies fighting side by side against this ultimate darkness. Okay, let's switch gears now. Let's move from feudal Japan to the world of Alexander the Great and beyond the gates of Babylon.
Time for a different kind of warrior.
Totally different. This is a guy who's been the symbol of conquest, of ambition, for centuries.
Right.
So what happens when even someone like that, with all that ambition, runs into something he can't conquer?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is.
We know Alexander. We know his, almost insatiable hunger for power. And then this portal opens, right? This gateway to something completely unknown. And his first instinct is to see it as just another world to conquer. It's so perfectly in character, don't you think?
Totally. But that bravado, that confidence, it doesn't last long, does it? The scouts come back with these horrifying stories, and then the creature itself appears, something completely alien, something that defies description. I mean, the story talks about how even Alexander's hardened troops are terrified.
These are soldiers who have seen it all, right?
Yeah.
Countless battles, brutal campaigns, and yet this thing terrifies them. It shows you that this isn't just another army with different tactics. It's something from another reality entirely, something that challenges everything they thought they knew about the world.
Yeah. And Alexander, being Alexander, steps up. The story describes him roaring for Macedon as this alien army attacks. It's like his ambition to conquer is instantly transformed into this fierce determination to survive, not just for his empire, but for his world.
The stakes just got a whole lot higher.
Didn't they?
It's not about land or power anymore. It's about the very existence of their reality. And in that moment, all of Alexander's drive, his ambition, it's all channeled into survival. He's not just a conqueror anymore. He's a potential savior.
I like that, a savior. The story describes the battle raging across dimensions.
Yeah.
That's intense, This isn't just a battle on a familiar field. It's a war against something invading from another dimension. It makes you think about the scale of it all, the chaos.
Absolutely. And it shows another side of Alexander, doesn't it? His adaptability.
More.
He's not relying on the same tactics that won him victories in the past. He's up against something completely different. He needs new strategies, new ideas, and he's willing to fight, even though he barely understands what he's facing.
That takes guts.
It does.
The story ends with Alexander fighting with everything he's got, but the fate of both worlds is still up in the air. It leaves you thinking, even the biggest ambitions, they can seem small when you're facing a threat like that. And that drive to conquer, well, maybe it can be turned into something else, something like a fight for survival.
And it raises a big question. What happens to ambition when you're staring down the end of everything? Does the desire for glory just disappear? The story seems to suggest that for a leader like Alexander, the focus shifts. It's no longer about personal conquest. It's about protecting his people, his world, even if it means facing something unimaginable.
So what did we learn from this apocalyptic probe, let's say? Well, in No Honor Amongst Ghosts, we saw how even the strictest codes of honor can be tested, even broken, by a threat to existence. Samurai and ninja forced to forget their feud and focus on just staying alive. The image of those two, Masahiro and Sayuri, fighting side by side despite their history, it's powerful. It makes you wonder what really matters when everything's falling apart. Can we really let go of old grudges when faced with annihilation?
Good questions. And then, Beyond the Gates of Babylon showed us Alexander the Great, a man known for conquering the world, facing something he couldn't control. It showed us his flexibility, his determination. It's like he went from conquer to maybe savior in an instant. And this alien invasion, it forced him and his army to confront the completely unknown. The story really makes you think, what happens when even the biggest goals seem tiny compared to a universal threat? Can that desire to conquer be turned into a drive to protect?
Both stories, even though they're set in different times, different worlds, they show us something about humanity, don't they? They show us our ability to adapt, to change, to form alliances we never thought possible. Maybe, when faced with total destruction, the things that divide us, they just don't matter anymore.
And for you, listening, which story resonated more? The forced alliance in feudal Japan, or the legendary conqueror fighting aliens? These are just glimpses into these imagined disasters, but they definitely make you think.
They do. We encourage you to check out the full flash fiction stories, delve into them yourselves, maybe explore other stories about survival, about the end of the world. What other unexpected heroes might emerge when the world is on the brink?
Mm, that's something to think about.
It is. Until next time, this has been the Just Nuke It podcast, your weekly dose of apocalyptic awesomeness. Don't forget to rate and follow the show for more captivating stories like these.
See you next time.
See